2 years ago, I called that Now Now would release their new album in 2018. Their last one was Threads, and that was released in 2012. That's 6 years ago. Well, this week, Now Now announced that yes, they're releasing their new album this year on May 18th. It's called Saved, and I could not be more excited about it. There's 3 singles out already. You should listen to them all. Can Summer please show up already so we can listen to this album? Anyway, let's start the show.
No static. No static. No static at all. No static at all.
Hi, hello, and welcome back, friends, to No Static at All, the podcast where we talk about the best music you haven't heard yet. I'm your host, Ian Compton, and we made it to episode 6. We went to 5 and said, hey, let's do one more. Heck with it. So we're having a fun time, and we're happy you're here. We are powered by SweetStatic.com and the Earthwalk Collective. Special thanks to Alex and David as my producers, and a special thanks to everybody else who's been listening, subscribing, and liking us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, all the places. We really appreciate you. Also, just so everybody knows, I had KFC for the first time in a long time last night, and I don't feel horrible today. I feel actually pretty okay. I had like a couple pieces of chicken, and biscuits, and mashed potatoes, coleslaw. I ate it all, and I feel pretty good. So, cool. 25. I'm not getting that old yet. I can eat KFC. Cool. Also, I'm still riding the high of the new Now Now album coming out, so that feels pretty good. But we got a pretty darn exciting episode today lined up for you. David and I went down to Gibsonia, Pennsylvania to talk to Jake HANNER in his studio. What a nice guy. What a cool studio. That was a really great talk. And I'm going to talk about the new Me Like Bees EP, Songs from the Realm, that's released today. A little soundtrack to a new comic book series from Image Comics called The Realm. Really excited to talk about that. But before I do, let's talk about some shows, Pittsburgh. On Friday, April 6th at 8 p.m., Silver Car Crash are celebrating the release of their new album Resource Body at Castle Transweski. They'll be supported by Barlow, Reality, and Pro Video. Message someone for the address to get to that one, and tapes will be available through Crafted Sounds. Don't miss out. I don't know how much it is to get in because it doesn't say online, but I'll be there, so maybe I'll sneak you in. Anyway, you'll have to buy an album if you come in. That's on April 6th. It's a Friday in Pittsburgh. Message for the address. See you there. And on the next day, Saturday the 7th, come over to Jelly Fox at 8:30 p.m. to see Tosser from DC, Call Daddy from New York, Barlow again, and Flower Crown solo. It's only $5 at the door, and I'm going to be at that one again, so maybe I'll sneak you into this one too. No, I'm not going to do that. But come out, it's going to be a great gig. Again, message any of the artists for the address to get to that one. And support your local music scene. Mine happens to be Pittsburgh. Missouri's own indie rock darlings, Me Like Bees, released their new EP, Songs from the Realm, today. A nice take on indie rock with a real sing-alongable choruses, in-your-face guitar tones. Very reminiscent to Jack White, Modest Mouse, The Lonely Wild, if you ever heard of them. They give me like a western-y vibe, like a cowboy vibe. The EP is extra cool because it's a soundtrack to a new comic book series called The Realm, being distributed by Image Comics, known for The Walking Dead. The authors on that are Seth Peck and Jeremy Hahn, who have both worked for Marvel and DC Comics in some respects. And I believe one of them is from the same hometown as Me Like Bees, and that's how they kind of met and started working together. The comic book series is about a post-apocalyptic world where wizards and dragons and shit have come out of the groundwork and have taken over everything, and you have like this like band of people trying to survive in this new world and fighting these beasts. And one of the characters' name is Ben, who's apparently like a one-man army kind of full force, in your face, badass. The second track off the EP is Long Gone, and it's all about Ben. It's fast, in your face, and it's straight up rock and roll. And I think it describes Ben pretty well, so see for yourself and give it a listen.
Robbery, five from snouts and crooked mouths, wheel cut and kick about, but help us out, helping devout. That's one, there's nothing that you could do, so make it peace.
And if they ever decide to make The Realm into a TV series, they have to use The River Divides as the theme song. I mean, just listen to it, you'll see.
There is worse in the world than the wars in my head.
If you like what you heard, go listen to Songs from the Realm now, streaming all over the place. They also have a really cool album that was released in 2013 called The Ides. Go pick a copy of The Realm up. I think they're on to a few of them, so go read them, go listen. Great stuff happening over in Missouri and whatnot. But like I said earlier, David and I drove down last week to talk to Jake HANNER of Donora. We got into a lot of Donora topics, as well as his upbringing in a musical family, as well as like what he's working on now in the studio and what the future holds for Donora. It was a really cool conversation. Jake was really easy to talk to, and his studio is wonderful. When you walk in, you're just immersed into instruments, and it's very rustic, and you can see trees outside, and it was pretty lovely. And you could hear his children stomping upstairs, running around, and there were scribbles on the wall from his son drawing as he would work on music back in the day, and it was a really cool experience, and it was really nice talking to him, and I think you're all going to really enjoy this interview. So enough of my blabbering. Let's listen to Jake.
Okay.
So, would you mind introducing yourself first?
I'm Jake HANNER.
And what do you do, Jake?
I create music for a living.
That's rad. That's my goal, eventually. You're a music producer. We're sitting in your studio, and you're a drummer in a very fine band called Donora.
Yes, I play drums in a band called Donora and the studio, and then I also do music for commercials and movies and stuff like that.
Which I saw online. I've always, my everyday life, I just run around and sing little, like, ditties about what I'm doing. I'm like, I could do jingles. You're a jingle guy. Like, you've done it.
I wish. I've only done, like, a couple works for hires.
Yeah?
Most of the stuff has been stuff that was already written that ended up being licensed.
No.
But I'm trying to get into more of the jingle.
Yeah,
writing. My dad did that, actually, for
Really?
a living. Yeah. Yeah, it was a really scary time in his life. He was a musician,
Mm-hmm.
and he played in a band, and the guy in his band, they were full-time at it, making a living, and the guy in his band quit and decided to be a songwriter in Nashville and just moved to Nashville. So the band broke up, and we had just bought a house, and I was just born, and he had a wife and a kid and no source of income. And he started writing, like, jingles and stuff for commercials, but some years he wouldn't even land a commercial the whole year. So it was like hit or miss, but it was like, but he ended up doing really well with it.
Yeah, back then, I think you could. Like, the guy who did the Seinfeld theme song, I think he was just a jingle guy.
Oh, really?
Then he just got hired to do the Seinfeld. And that's not even a real bass, that's synth.
Yeah.
That's really rad. Your dad did jingles. Pass it down.
Yeah, he wrote a Diet Sprite commercial that debuted during the Super Bowl.
What year?
It was in the 80s, 86 maybe, I think.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Can you find that on YouTube? Like that commercial?
Yeah, he's singing it too, because he did like it was the demo version, and they brought in a guy to sing it, or they were gonna redo it, and they're like, Diet Sprite people were like, no, we like the demo, let's just use that. So
like
he's singing it,
demo
but
version.
he had done it like in his little closet studio. He had a studio in a walk-in closet at our house.
That was his studio?
Yeah, and he did it in there really fast, because he had to get it done really fast, and that was before, internet, and so he would get it done last minute and then drive to the airport to drop it off last minute at FedEx. And
FedEx was only at the airport.
Well,
back then?
that was the latest you could drop it off. It was right before it was about to get on the plane and
it's
go.
like a Steve Martin comedy or something.
So he was rushing to finish it, and he did it in an hour, and drove out there, and they ended up using it. In fact, he said those were the ones that they always picked, were the ones where he didn't listen to what they wanted, or they said they wanted, and he would just do his thing, and he would do it really fast, and those were the ones he always won.
Yeah, anytime I write music, I find if I don't think about it and I just do something really fast, everyone loves it more than anything I take a long time to
Oh,
do.
totally, yeah.
That's really cool. So that your dad had a studio, which eventually you got your own. Did you ever get a bigger studio, or was it only the walk-in?
He eventually moved out of the closet and into into a bigger room, but it was just in our basement. Yeah, kind of similar to this.
Hey, this is one of the most raddest studios I've ever been into. As soon as I walked in, I was like, "Yeah, this is cool."
Oh, thanks, man.
So, Donora, how did it begin? You like,
well, my
you were
sister
like 8 years old and you're playing with stuff, and eventually, like, you could never stop. Or one day you're like, "Hey, let's stop fighting and make music."
When I was 8, I was playing with a Casio sampler. I didn't actually make music until college. I was real into music when I was little, but then I discovered sports, and I got real into sports, and my dad did music for a living, so it never seemed like special to me. It always just seemed like a job, you know what I mean, in a way. And
he was the jingle guy.
Yeah,
rushing
right.
to the airport.
So I know I never really played music till college, and then my sister, she's 5 years younger than me, and she was writing in high school, and then my dad suggested that we play together, actually, because we weren't actually that close growing up.
No.
And I mean, she was just my annoying little sister that was 5 years younger.
Right.
We were close for a little, but then as we got older, we weren't that close. And then we started playing music together, and that was how Donora started. First, our dad was actually in the band. It was called it was just Casey HANNER, my sister's name, before Donora. And then we kicked my dad out.
You actually kicked him out?
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to leave.
No.
It was real uncomfortable. We wanted to play with kids our own age. You know, we wanted to play like in the local Pittsburgh bars and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, so we had to, ask him to leave.
I know that feeling. My whole family are like wicked drummers, and
really?
Yeah, the Comptons. We play drums. But, I often think how cool it would be to have my dad in the band, but I think he'd just be a buzzkill.
Right.
Like, we gotta be serious. Like, we're jamming.
Well, now that I'm older, it would be like amazing, but I can't get him to join now.
Oh, now he's too bitter now. Like, you had your chance.
Fluent. Right.
But Donora just released an album last year, right? Son to Me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You want to talk about that process a little bit?
No.
No?
No, just kidding.
Was it not fun?
It was tedious.
Oh, no. I've yet to... Well, no, I've been a part of musical things that have been tedious.
It was a thing where I thought it was going to be fun. The initial approach was a good idea, but I didn't end up enjoying it. The initial idea was to have... So usually we write, and it's just kind of... We write a song, and we move on, we write another song. And usually it becomes close to being finished. As we're writing, we record it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's close to being finished. This time we had all the songs written that we knew we wanted to record, so we started over and we just stripped everything down and record the vocal and start building things back up. But then we'd strip it down and experiment a whole bunch and build things back up, and it just got to the point where I just wanted it to be over almost. But I think the best versions came out, but there's maybe like 3 different versions of every song.
Dang.
And at first it was fun, but then I feel like I just worked on those songs too long.
You still have all those other versions?
Yeah, I think so, but none of them really got completely finished to a point where I feel like you could release it. I'd have to put more work into it, which I'd rather just move forward.
Like, it'd be cool to have 3 different versions of an album, but it was gonna make you gray quicker. Like.
Right. No, I like moving forward fast. Like, I like doing things. I like creating something, getting it done, and not holding on to it like it's too precious. I just like to keep moving, because that's the only way you get better, and that's the only way you can really enjoy it. If you're constantly obsessing about one thing, I feel like it just it kind of loses its, I don't know, it loses its soul in a way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like when you first write a song, and or if you're a band and you first write a song and then you record it right away. It's usually like those first 2 takes just have this like spontaneity and this like feel to it that has like a magic to it. And then the more you work on it, then you try it again, and it might sound more professional or it might sound better, but it just loses that spark that was there, where everyone was kind of excited about it, you know?
No, I totally understand. I've had an album written
for a while now, and I keep struggling with recording it. I'm like, oh no, am I missing like the energy? There was a rapper who once said, if I can't like make something within like the first hour or something, I think of it as not worth making. And I think about that all the time.
Well, I think you hear stories, a lot of the best songs were written in 15 minutes. My dad's, he had a couple #1 country hits recorded in the early 80s by some artists, and his one song that's made him the most money and has been recorded the most over the years, he wrote in 15 minutes, and when he was like 20, I think. And he didn't think anything of it when he wrote it. He didn't think it was going to be a huge hit, you know? He just, it was just another song to him, and it just came out real easy and real fast, and ended up being something that people could connect with. So
a lot of times that's how that works.
I think it's good not to analyze too much, because I think I think there's a time for analyzing your work, but when you're in the creative process, I think it's better just to keep plowing forward and move forward, and then take a separate time to kind of analyze and dissect things and decide what's working and what isn't. But when you're in the creative process, I feel like you gotta almost separate those two things in a way. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. Yeah, you can't. That's the thing about today. I think human beings, we know too much, so we don't like do enough.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you get in the internet and you learn. Like,
there are a lot of options.
There's so many options. Like, why do anything? You're like too busy reading all the options. But was there an album that you worked on with Donora that like didn't feel that way? That you felt was just like boom, 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 done. It was how you wanted it to be. You felt really good about it.
No. I can do that with other people's music, because it's not, I obsess over it, but in a way where things are clear. That's why I love recording and working with other people. I'm emotionally involved, but it's like an outside perspective. Like, I'm not in the thick of it, I'm not battling. Lots of times I feel like when you start out to make a record, you have a specific idea in your head of what you want that record to be. And then things start happening that may change that record, and you have to decide, do I stay on course, or do I go this way, or do I go that way? And I feel like when you're on the outside of that, it's real easy to see which is the successful path. But when you're in the middle of it all, it's like you said, with the options and the choices, there's so many choices and options where you could go, where you think, well, if I go down this road, I feel like this could be really successful. If I go down this road, this way could be successful. But when you're not in the thick of it and you have an outside perspective, it's more clear which road is the real road to go down. Which road is gonna end up in an album that's as successful as you could possibly make it. But when you, like I said, I don't know that I've actually ever been able to produce myself as well as producing other people, and Donora is kind of like me producing myself in a way.
Yeah. Are you one of the main songwriters, or is it your sister?
Me and my sister.
You have one more member, right?
Yeah, and Jake, and he writes some licks and stuff like that. But usually the songs start off with me and my sister.
Okay.
Usually it starts with me writing a track, and then my sister and I getting together, or sometimes I'll just send her the track and she'll come up with some melody ideas or lyric ideas. Or sometimes we'll figure that stuff out together. But it's been a while since I've actually sat down with like a guitar and written a song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just find it more interesting to write with tracks, to make tracks, and well, probably because I don't really know how to play guitar.
Yeah,
Fake my way.
You just sit with the keys and just...
Not the keys. So it's all different. Sometimes I make like a cool like percussion loop with like a broken tambourine or something, and use that as like the foundation to like, okay, well that sounds cool, and that's almost making a little melody with the way that loop is performed there, and that's making like a kind of a hook within that tambourine, and then I'll start adding to that. And
you've built a song off a tambourine before?
Oh yeah, that's how I do everything. Like I build.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It limits things. It limits you though in a way, Now sometimes what will happen is it will get going down that road, and you have to realize whether or not how much time to put into it. Whether or not early on, like, oh, this isn't gonna be a good song. Like this isn't gonna go down a road that's gonna turn into a good song.
You can catch that pretty quickly.
Yeah. I try to start singing to it early on,
Oh.
trying to come up with melodies with it, and you can kind of see where it's going. But yeah, I don't know. I've just always liked writing that way,
Yeah.
as opposed to like with a guitar and piano.
Now, you're Casey, right? Is your sister?
Yeah,
What does she play?
she plays guitar mainly,
Guitar?
but she's the same way. Like I
Yeah?
feel like we both approach music the way, not that we're artists, but we're definitely not musicians. But I think we both approach music in a way like an artist would approach music, as opposed to a way someone that wants to learn an instrument and wants to like, master that instrument. We've never really wanted to master an instrument so much as maybe, well, I kind of always wanted to master recording and arranging and that kind of stuff, but my sister probably more like mastering the art of songwriting. So we've always kind of approached it from that point of view. But she usually writes, well, either with my tracks, or when she writes on her own, she writes with guitar.
Cool.
We're actually going to work on a country album soon.
You guys working on anything new?
Yeah.
Country album. Is it going to be Donora or a new project?
I think it'll just be Casey HANNER, like
Okay.
her project. But yeah, we have like all the I think almost all the songs written, or she does, and we've been demoing them out and getting them going. But I want to do it fast, like I was saying.
Yeah.
I want it to sound authentic and like old school, like country and. But every time I start working on it, it ends up sounding like the newer like Beck stuff, like his acoustic stuff.
Yeah, with the album with his head in the round head. Yeah.
It starts getting out of like country because every time I start doing my weird stuff, it starts getting spacey and more like Beck. But
Maybe you need to like do an Andrew Bird approach and just like go out to a barn,
yeah.
record analog out in the barn,
Or like Neil Young, Harvest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some James Taylors. I know a dude who plays a pretty mean washboard. Just saying.
What I need is a slide player that plays like the guy from.
I know a guy. I know a guy who plays mean resonator. I don't really know a guy who plays mean
pedal
lap
speed.
dead.
Yeah,
You ever read Neil Young's autobiography, Waging Heavy Peace?
No.
He talks a lot about that dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that guy played with everybody.
That guy was amazing. He wrote such good hooks, and it was so simple, and he didn't overplay at all. And you listen to that album, the Harvest album, so much of it is based on, besides the great songwriting, but the arranging is based on his little hooks that he's adding here and there. And it's so simple. It's just like bass, drums, acoustic, and then that slide, And, so that's what I'm looking for. Just, it should be easy to find someone that plays like that slide player, right?
You're in the middle of the country in Pittsburgh, so like you'll find somebody. Somebody in the backwoods. We just played a dive bar out in the middle of Nowheresville, Herman, PA, and there were some mean players out in that open mic, so you
really?
can find people.
The problem I find with a lot of players is they can play all these amazing parts, they just can't settle on one. That's the problem I always find. And I'll have people over to the studio that'll just play and play and play, and I'll just end up chopping it up and like just taking this section and be like, okay, this section just needs to repeat the whole song. That's what needs to happen. And I find that a lot with people that approach music from a musicianship standpoint, is they have a hard time simplifying things in a way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally does. I played trumpet in high school, and I was like, I did all the district, regional bands, everything, but I've forgotten a lot of it. And I moved to New York. I was a drummer and a trumpet player. I moved to New York just with my guitar, and I like just learned how to play. I don't know chords, I don't know keys, but I have all these songs I wrote, and people seem to like them, and I like playing them.
Oh, that's cool.
And I kind of like happy I can't. And like my trumpet playing, like they would be like, it's in the key of A or key of G, and I'm like, I'm just gonna pick a random note, keep going. Like that's just how I
Play
work.
by ear, yeah.
But I kind of like my process. It keeps it fresh. Like sometimes I'll forget a thing I've played a million times. I'll just be like, all right, I gotta figure this out right now.
Well, yeah, that's. But you're able to come up with stuff that you would never come up with if you knew the rules. You know?
I forgot all the rules. I was taught them. I had private lessons.
You probably wish you knew them.
I wish.
Even though
Well, I wish I do so I could teach.
there's shortcuts. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that I could actually teach the little ones.
Oh, right.
I can't remember to save my life. If I looked at stuff and like, oh, that's how you do that.
Well, you
but-
could play by ear, right? So
Yeah.
you could. You have kids?
No. Just like to actually be a private teacher.
Oh, right,
and make
right.
Some
I
side
thought you meant
dough.
your little ones.
No,
Not yet.
No, not yet. One day. And David will watch them on Thursdays and take them to Days in his one. You have 3 little ones, right?
Yeah. Uh
How old are they?
huh. 8, 6, and 3. The 2
8,
boys, the older ones, and a daughter, LaRue's, the 3-year-old.
She's the youngest.
Yeah, the 8-year-old was really into drums and music. In fact, he drew all this stuff on the wall. He used to hang out with me down here in the studio till all hours when I was working, and I would just let him draw on the wall, and he would turn around and say, "Dada, thanks so much for letting me draw on the wall."
Oh, that's a child's dream.
Yeah.
You went ham. My uncle used to let me put his headphones on and listen to him play the electric drum set. He had when I was a kid. I loved it. There's a home video of it. This is awesome.
But it was pretty amazing. He has his own playlist on there, actually on Spotify, and he would know every time I'd play him a song, he would know within 2 seconds whether he liked it or not. Every single time he would go, yeah or no. And so I just added to his playlist, and then he'd go over there, and when I would be done working, and I'd put on headphones and listen to something, and then he'd just go over and just be blaring away on the drums. And he actually got pretty good at it, but then he discovered hockey. And now he's just obsessed.
He's all hockey.
He's all into hockey now.
That's one thing I'm like terrified for. I'll love my kid no matter what.
Right.
If they're really into sports, I don't know how we're gonna connect. I'm totally not sportsy at all.
Well, my other son is really into wrestling, and I was never into wrestling when I was a kid, and but I still love him. I think I'm still gonna keep him. It'll be all right.
That was hilarious. And then the little one's 3, so you don't know what she's into yet, right?
She's totally a girl. She's like a princess. It's amazing
Okay.
how that's just ingrained in you.
Yeah.
Like, the boys all loved trucks when they were little, and she just has always loved dresses and being princess. And yeah, she's real into music though too. She always wants to. Anytime we get in the car, she yells to put on a song, and she says louder. She likes to blast it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But you think this is your full-time gig, right? In
Yes.
Music, so full-time father and full-time music works.
Yeah, it can. I think you have to diversify. Like, you have to have a lot of different kinds of incomes if you're living in, say...
That's why I want to be able to private teach.
Yeah, that's a great source of income. But for me, so it's the licensing, the commercial stuff, and then the studio, and then the performing in the band. But it's definitely possible. It's harder, I think, in somewhere like Pittsburgh. I think it's easier in like LA or New York, because there's more opportunities there.
More people.
Yeah,
more like-minded people.
Right. It's like so like when we would go back and forth our band to New York all the time, and you'd just be playing in a place that was like, Club Cafe in Pittsburgh. It'd just be the same type of place, same size room, same type of crowd, and you just feel like it was a local show. And then you'd go outside, and you'd be talking with someone, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm the house guitar player in Saturday Night Live band or something." And then the other guy would be, "Oh yeah, I played bass. I toured with MIA. I played bass with MIA." And it's just like, there's more connections, there's more people in the industry, in the actual industry.
I lived in New York for 3 years, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, the people. My old podcast I was talking about, I was looking for albums to review, and I remember I found this one band on this compilation. There was like 3 bands I liked on it, and the one band I liked, I ended up working with that guy a month later after I found that band, and I joined that band a year later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So New York is just it's a wild trip.
We started going to LA after a while. At first we did it because we just figured, we we're gonna pay for a flight, and that's just. But we we ended up, saving enough and making trips to LA instead of New York, because we just went back and forth to New York all the time. It wasn't, as soon as we got to LA, we were just like, oh, this is where our band should be. But by that point, I was kind of settled in with my family, and my sister was getting married, but it just felt right for us for some reason. Yeah, New York felt too claustrophobic, and but LA is wide open, and it just, I don't know, and it seemed like the right vibe for our music. So we were doing that for a while. When we'd release an album, we'd go out there and we'd go up into like office buildings and play acoustic for like people and for different not necessarily labels, but licensing companies and stuff like that, and do little showcases. And one time there was another place, like it was like a club cafe type place, and there's this guy playing these acoustic covers, and it was pretty crowded. Everyone was watching really intently, and I'm thinking, why is everyone watching this guy doing these acoustic covers so intently? And then I noticed he has like a guitar tech. He's handing him acoustic guitars. Like, what's going on? And then he starts doing a crappy cover of like one of Adele's huge hits, and then afterwards I realized, oh, it's the guy that wrote all those songs. And he wrote like a ton of Dixie Chick hits. And he was a super nice guy. We went on right after him. But I guess he just like popped in and did this like surprise show.
L.A.
Yeah. I forget that guy's name. He was in that band Semisonic, that Closing Time song. Dan something, I forget.
My company I used to work for in New York made a rule, like it was in the handbook, that we were not allowed to play that song anymore because I played it so many times at my shop. It's like 2 a.m, get out.
That guy wrote a book
Semisonic.
about the music industry, actually, that's really good. I forget his name. It's Dan something. But yeah, Semisonic guy.
This is why I need one of those like Joe Rogan tech guys. Like, what's the name of that?
Right.
But when you would go out to LA, would you do anything else on the West Coast, like go up to Portland or Seattle?
No, because we had to rent equipment. We didn't have money to really rent a van, and
I know the van struggle.
At that time, we were just focusing on trying to build the licensing stuff. Mm-hmm. We toured up and down the East Coast driving, and we would actually had a buddy who had an auto body shop, and we would rent a car because he would get a really good deal, really just like $20 a day or something for like a van. And after a while, the rental place, we'd bring the car, we'd do like these week runs and bring this van back with all these miles on it, and they would be like, eventually they had to ask my friend if we were doing drug runs. So they didn't understand why we kept renting these vans for a week and bringing them back with all these miles.
You just do drug runs. It's hilarious. What year was this?
No, this was like 2010 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. We traveled for a few years. We were up and down the East Coast a lot.
That's fine. That's probably about the time I discovered you guys. When I was in my high school band, I discovered you. I found the YouTube video with the green hula hoop.
Oh yeah, that girl was great.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Oh, thank you.
I remember finding that, and then another one. I remember you guys had really cool music videos.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just like thinking you guys had real cool music videos.
We put a lot of time into that. I don't know. It was fun for us. My sister's really good at it too, but we put a lot of time into coming up with those ideas. We found that girl at a show of ours, actually. She was in the back hula hooping during one of our shows, and thought she was amazing. And we told the guy at our label, okay, this is what we want to do for the video. And he was real skeptical. He's like, I don't understand how this is going to be interesting for the entire song, this girl hula hooping. And then he all the way till he showed up and she did her first take, and he was like, oh, okay, I get it. This is awesome.
And you guys had like another one, I think, with like the big blanket you would do in preschool.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Am I right? I haven't looked this up. This is just from memory.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah.
Did you see my favorite was the one with that destroying the house. Did you see that one?
I can't
You
recall.
have to look it up. It's
All right.
really, it was really fun. It was this guy. It was the guy that owns in Pittsburgh, that owns Altar Bar, and it was his party mansion. Somehow we got access to it. I don't know how. And the only thing in the whole place was like pictures of him with like Playboy bunnies, and then a fur coat in the master bedroom. a glass mirrored coffee table in the master bedroom. I'm not sure what went on top of that. I don't know. And then and then a real old limo in the garage. That was it.
And wait, and you guys destroyed it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we put it all back together. But,
Oh.
yeah. So it starts out like you're walking through the house and it's just a party, a family gathering, and then it gets to a point and then everything goes wrong, and I'm like grabbing my sister and trying to pull her through this house, and everyone's fighting, and there's picnic tables smashed. There's people trying to drown people. Everything goes haywire.
Oh dang! Do you guys still make videos?
We
like
did
that?
all that. We did all that in one shot. We like rehearsed it once, and then we did it. We had to do it.
It was
twice,
a one-shot video.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We had to do it twice. The first time we did it once, but like, let's try to beat it. So we had to clean everything up and do it again.
You know, I know a lot of people don't like Dave Matthews Band, but do you remember his video for "Funny the Way It Is"? It was off of like a newer album.
I was into that when I was in high school, but I never got.
No,
into
this is like when I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people don't like Dave Matthews, but that's a good music video. It's like a one-take thing.
Oh, I love
No,
those. Yeah.
I don't know. I know.
those are great. I'll have to
But-
check that one out.
Yeah, "Funny the Way It Is."
Okay.
It's just it was all shot in one take, and I think it's a pretty cool music video.
Who's that band that became famous for making good music videos?
Oh, okay, go.
Yeah, they have some newer ones that are incredible
Oh,
too.
that's all they like. I don't even think
Yeah.
people care about the song
Right.
anymore. One time I tried to listen to the song, like really listen to it. I was like, it's not a bad song.
Well, there's a newer one that was pretty good. It was kind of a synth pop song that they have an amazing video for it. It's a really good song. But yeah, we opened up for them once. They were really nice.
Where was that at?
That was at Mr. Small's. For some reason, the drummer was real into my kick pedal. He told me it was some like vintage kick pedal that's really hard to find, which I just thought was bizarre. Like, why anyone knows about vintage kick pedals? Why that's a thing?
Is it a hard one to find?
I guess. I don't know. Maybe he was just messing. I kept saying, I think you're messing with me, right? He's like, no, I'm serious.
You probably was like, I don't know, I'm not gonna insinuate anything the guy was doing. Who knows if he remembered the conversation?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, cool. Do you guys still make videos, or is that kind of like?
No, we don't really have the budget for that anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't understand how people do it.
We have a friend of ours that is really good that will do some stuff that's more on the low budget side. But those kind of productions where we would have a director and get a crew together and all that, I don't know if we'll be making any of those again. But I think they really helped. They seem to, anyways.
And that's what
Got
I
the word
caught
out.
my eye.
Yeah.
Back a
See?
2010 Ian, a different me. So what's new? What's the news for Donora? You guys have shows coming up, or?
Yeah, we have a few shows, and which I'm excited about playing again. And we're doing something different. We have a couple friends of ours playing with us. So we were a 3-piece with a sampler, and I got sick of playing with a sampler, and I wanted to play with real humans. So we got a couple of friends of ours that are in different bands. Mark Ramsey, who's in Brooke Annabelle and Cold Weather, is playing keyboards, and he's amazing at kind of mimicking the quote-unquote sample sounds that I create. A lot of it is because he works with me on his projects in here, and we do a lot of the same kind of stuff, so he knows the tricks, the piano through the Leslie, and like all the little tricks to get the kind of weird montagey sample sounds. So.
What's in your brain, bring it out to...
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he told. So when I play with the sampler, I'm usually triggering the samples, and he always jokes that I should just hit his head every time I wanted to play the right part instead of the sample.
Put the pad on
Yeah.
here. Who's the other person playing with you?
And then Alex Stanton, who's in this amazing band Townspeople, and him and I work together on his project some too. He's really good at recording on his own. He'll come here and we'll do some pre-production, and then he'll go home and record on his own and bring tracks over, and then I'll mix them and master them. And but he's playing guitar, so the two of them are kind of covering the sample stuff that I usually do.
They're your real life samples.
Yeah.
Cool.
All I have to do is hit them on the head and they play exactly what I want.
And you guys have rehearsed and everything? You're ready to go?
Yeah, we rehearsed for, we had a release show, so we had to rehearse for that. And then we hadn't played in a while, so we started rehearsing again and ready to go.
Can you talk about any of the projects you've been working on with other people? Anything you're excited about?
John Binley from Binley Hardware Company. We've been working on a project together. For some reason, I keep getting people's side projects. I'm not sure why. I like recording full bands, but people keep coming here and wanting me to do drums and percussion and stuff. And I'm working with Nathan Zub from. He plays with Paul Luke, and then his band is Recluse. And we just started a project that I'm really excited about. Another band, a newer young band called The Living Street, which they're maybe 21 and 22. They just went on tour. We just finished an album, and they went on tour. There's just two of them, and I played drums on the album. And actually, I told them I volunteered to play drums for local shows until they found someone that is young enough that wants to tour, like they should be doing.
And then you're not gonna want to leave, but they're
Yeah.
gonna have to kick you out.
Just like my
It's
dad.
gonna be karma.
Totally.
And they're gonna want you back, and you're like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. I got hockey games and wrestling matches I gotta get to.
Exactly.
Anything else you're working on? Or?
Um,
It's okay if there's hush-hush projects and stuff.
No, I'm never hush. I like talking to. Well, I think some of the bands get annoyed because I want to post stuff as we're working, but I think it's good to do that because it gets people excited about the projects. And, that happened with the Buckle Downs. They're a band that I worked with recently that YEP really picked up on, and a friend of mine, Cindy, she's one of the talk show hosts on WYEP, and I got real excited about this song we did. And she's an amazing singer, great vocal performance, and I posted a video of me mixing it, and she got real excited about it and started wanting to know when the album was coming out and stuff like that. So, no, I like talking about this stuff and try to get it out there.
Do you have any wild stories or anything that's incredibly on your mind before we go?
Well, one thing I would like to say is that with music, something interesting that I think a lot of people overlook is with artists, they always overlook what comes really natural to them. And that's usually what makes them interesting. And they always overlook that because it's so easy for them. So they don't focus on it. They're always reaching out instead of looking in when they're trying to get better at being a songwriter or being an artist. They're always trying to search for something that's like, oh, this person does this person does this, I can do that. But there's things that you do that no one else can do. And you have to identify those things and focus on those things and really try to develop those talents. And I think a lot of people get lost in trying to focus on other people's talents instead of looking at what they do well.
No,
that's just my little spiel about.
No, I totally agree. If I can get in my soapbox for a second,
Yeah.
That band from high school, I was with a dude who was very perfectionist and we have an album that's 5 years old that we will never release. And we just sat on it and cut it apart. And he was so talented. He got good at guitar in a year. And I remember I just equated my talent to his, and I could not write anything during this period or anything until I moved to New York on my own, and that's when I found my voice. And
Right.
I stopped trying to overthink it, and I just started playing because
Started being you.
I just being me. I'm
Yeah.
I have no friends in this city yet. I just have my room and my
Right.
guitar. So no, I totally get that. You can't be looking. Healthy competition
Oh, totally.
is cool, but you can't.
I just think it's so easy to overlook what comes easy and natural to you because it doesn't seem special to you because wow, that's not special. That's easy. I do that every day.
Yeah. Totally agree. I like to sing 80s hair metal band, dude. And it's not that great, but man, do I have fun with it. I just been doing it all. I break into it every jam. It's good for my soul. Just to do
Well, I'm glad no one has a microphone in my car when I'm driving because I am just ridiculous in my car. My singing and my songs I make up.
making up your own soundtrack.
Just annoying
everything
songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for my roommates in New York. All the making coffee while I can cook my eggs.
Right.
Oh well, Jake, thanks so much for talking to me and
yeah.
inviting me to your
Sure,
home.
thanks for coming over.
I feel the heat in your love. I feel the fire in your touch. I feel the sky burning bright. I feel it all. I feel it all. I feel the wind on my face. I see the ground.
You know, the one topic that has really stuck with me since this conversation is that topic of getting the work done quick. Recording the songs quickly as you're writing them, getting them out there so the energy's there. There's nothing wasted. There's nothing lost. I've been part of not many, but like 2 bands mainly that have just had some real potential, a lot of really good ideas, but just hit away and killed it. Didn't record them quick enough, didn't push it, overthought it, and it didn't work out. And 2 bands in different states, totally 2 different people in 2 different scenes. I've seen it happen. And I'm sitting on an album that I haven't recorded. Now it's been probably a year since I started writing those songs. I mean, not a year since the last one was written, so I think I'm still in the realm of the energy's there to do it, but I have to get it done. I have to get it done, and I think it's important that bands stop overthinking and just do. Suck a little bit, and then you won't suck, and then you'll have a song you're really proud of, and that's just the way to do it. Don't overthink it. I mean, do your art justice and be proud of it, but there's a certain point where you got to let go and let the song be the song. But thanks so much for listening, guys. This has been another episode of No Stack at All, episode 6. Tune in next week for episode 7. It's an exciting one. I already have things prepared for it. But really appreciate you listening every week. If you tune in every week, we love you. If this is your first time, go back and listen to some old episodes, and then come back next Friday. We're here every Friday. We love having you. We're on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. Like us on all those things. Subscribe, rate us, follow us. Email us, nosecatallpodcast@gmail.com. If you want your band on, or interviewed, or reviewed, or just some just ideas to throw at me. Whatever, or just want to say hi. You ever want to see me in person? I love high fives. I count them on the reg. But again, thanks so much, everyone. Thank you, Sweet Static and Earthwalk, and all my lovely family and friends. I love you so much. And this has been Ian Compton saying, see you later.